Welcome. Today we'll be becoming fluent with our diminished chords. But what does it mean to be fluent? It means we want to come to an understanding today and not just learn it the quickest and easiest way. Today we'll be learning diminished chords 3 different ways, starting out with a very quick shortcut that uses our pre-existing knowledge of our minor triads, moving into better understanding how we spell and stack our diminished triads so we can visualize them in our music better, and understanding the function. That way we can expect where we'll see it in music and even be able to understand it by ear when we're listening to music, becoming aware of the diminished sound. Let's begin. Let's start off with getting used to the sound of our diminished chord, also with an easy shortcut to remind us how to build the diminished chord at the beginning. With our diminished chord, we are stacking 2 minor thirds. Root whole half and another third whole half. And the reason this chord gets its name of a diminished chord is from the diminished fifth on the outside, a half step smaller than the perfect fifth. This actually gives us our shortcut. If we know our minor chords, we have C minor. To turn this perfect fifth into our diminished fifth, we simply lower the fifth by a half step. We can call this being a flat 5. Now I go around my circle of fifths to the G. G minor, G diminished. My D. D minor, D diminished. A minor, going to E, going to our B, going to our F sharp, going to our C sharp, going to our A flat, going to our E flat, going to our B flat, going to our F, and finally getting back to our C. Now we'll go on to our Chord Speller. This one will look a little bit different than the past ones, as rather than dealing with every letter name being flat, natural, and sharp, we'll learn later why diminished chords are more likely to be natural, sharp, or double sharp, but we do see these symbols now changed. We'll start off with our C diminished. So we can start off with our C minor chord. We know that our C minor must be C, E flat, and G. And so we take our fifth now and we drop it by a half step down to G flat, making sure we're still listing our thirds C, E, G, C, E flat, G flat. We get that nice dissonant sound that means we have a diminished chord. In this case, our C gets raised a half step to the C sharp. And we'll have our E flat get raised to the E natural. Our G flat get raised to a G natural. This means this already should be a C sharp diminished chord here. Yep, and that would be a C sharp diminished chord, that great dissonant sound. Now we go on to our C double sharp. Just as a review, this X is our double sharp symbol. This would tell us this note right here is a half step higher than a C sharp, but is not a D. We specifically are still calling this a C to respect the rules of a C chord, being labeled as C, E, G, stacking in thirds. But now we can kind of notice this pattern. we had one natural and two flats, one sharp and two naturals, one double sharp, and the other two notes must be sharp. And so our C double sharp diminished would be C double sharp, E sharp, and G sharp. Let's go on and do this on the D as well. We'll start off with our D minor, and with D, F, A, that we already have that sound. We take our fifth and lower it by a half step. And we now have our D diminished. Now for our D sharp diminished, we need to take our third, the F, and raise it from an F natural up to an F sharp. Now we need to take our A flat and make sure it's raised to an A natural. Yep, and it does have that natural symbol in front of it. Now, as we go on up a half step to our D double sharp, we can once again notice this pattern where we have two naturals and a flat, two sharps and a natural. Here we'd have two double sharps and a sharp. And now we do have our D double sharp diminished chord. D double sharp, F double sharp, and A sharp. Now let's talk a little bit about function, where we would encounter a diminished chord. Our diminished chord is very commonly used before a dominant 5 chord in a minor key. If I have my 2-5-1 in major, I would have my D, G, C. My D chord is naturally minor, my 5 chord is naturally major, and my 1 chord is naturally major. Now if I go to A minor, I take my 2-5-1, I have my 2 chord. We do make the 5 major with the G sharp to 1. And we notice we have a diminished 2 chord, a major 5 chord, and a minor 1 chord. Also a great way to review all 3 chords we've learned so far: diminished, minor, and major. Let's do this in 2 more examples. We'll do this on C major next. Taking my C minor 5-note scale, finding my 2-5-1, and now building out D diminished, G major, and C minor. Let's also do this on G minor as well, going to the next location on the circle of fifths. Starting off with our G minor 5-note scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are not the fingerings, but where we are in the scale. Now we'll take our 2, 5, 1, or A, D, G, A diminished, D major, A minor. Now let's take our G minor next, starting with our G minor 5-note scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 5, 1, A, D, G, A diminished, D major, G minor. Now that we better understand how our diminished chords are built, what they sound like, and where we'll usually encounter them in our music, this will improve our understanding for future concepts and also allow us to understand some of our music in times where we might have been in the past dealing with chords that we simply memorized what notes were on the page rather than truly understanding what the composer was intending in that moment. Happy practicing.